Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. In today's video, we talk about wristwatches and 15 reasons not to buy a fake, counterfeit, or replica watch. Reason number one, it's illegal. Not only does it impact the economy, but it's at least trademark infringement, and in many countries it's actually a criminal offense, especially if you sell it, sometimes even if you buy it. So be very careful when you travel with a replica watch, because you may get in trouble. 2. Eventually it'll come out. A watch collector or expert will quickly be able to identify your watch as a fake, and that's quite embarrassing. 3. Your watches could be seized. Especially when you come through customs, your watches may be taken away from you, and you may have other more serious consequences. Every country is different, but for example, Japan or Germany are much more aggressive than the US. Of course, you're always safe to have an authentic watch. 4. It can affect the innocent buyer. Most sellers are not honest enough to tell you that it's a counterfeit, fake, or replica watch. And let's say you sell it on, oftentimes people don't know what it was in the first place. So even if the original buyer knows it's a fake, if he resells it, the person might not be able to identify it. So don't be part of a duping industry and get a real watch. 5. Fake watches are for fake people. Basically, that's a slogan of the Fondation de Haute Horlogerie, which is a watch consortium from Switzerland. And of course, you could argue that it's in their best interest to have people buy real Swiss watches. At the same time, they really have a point. If you want to fake your watch, what else do you have to hide and fake? Maybe your CV? Maybe your record? Who knows? 6. It's obvious to people who know watches. Let's say you have a fake Rolex. It may look authentic to somebody on the street or to you, but an expert will quickly be able to identify a real thing from a replica. If you want to learn more about how you can spot a fake Rolex, please check out this in-depth guide. 7. You could lose your reputation. Let's say people find out that you have a fake. The way they will look at you will be probably very different. They may question your achievements in the past or whether what you actually say is the truth. And that really works against you. 8. It will not last. Replica watches are usually less expensive because they use inferior materials, the mechanics are not as good, and overall, it's much more likely to break. Of course, there are also relatively high-quality fakes. Some of them even use real gold. But would you really want to pass something like that on to your children? I guess not. 9. Nobody's impressed by a fake. Most people who buy a fake get it in the first place because they want a certain status that comes with a watch. The problem is, once you wear the watch and people will see that, it actually has the reverse effect. They look at you like a cheapo who just pretends to have made it. 10. Replicas are a waste of money. When you buy one in the first place, it's considerably less expensive as an upfront investment, but think about it that way. It's not the real deal, so you can't really resell it, otherwise you commit an illegal act of selling replica watches, and even if you sell it as a fake, that can be illegal. When you try to sell a fake, you get basically nothing for it. And so once people have discovered that it is a fake, it's completely worthless. Even if it's just $100, it's like burning $100. Or even worse, it hurts your reputation. 11. It will not keep accurate time. Most watch movements that are faked are not as accurate. And you could argue that nowadays people don't really use watches to tell time, they use their cell phones instead. At the end of the day, it's a fake that doesn't impress anybody, and if it doesn't even keep time, what's the point? 12. Replica watches are usually not water resistant. That means when you have a fake, you're much more likely to get condensation on the inside or actual water if you walk through a rain shower, and that tells even the amateur that you are wearing a fake watch. 13. The fake watch strap or bracelet is even worse than the watch itself. Literally, it's the weakest link in the chain, and chances are that it'll break prematurely and it will fall off, and it's just a mess. Simply don't do it. 14. Fake watches damage the entire watch industry. When people end up with a relatively good fake, they assume it's the real deal, but then it breaks prematurely and they think The brand actually sucks, even though it was just a fake that broke. Overall, it costs the watch companies a lot of money to fight fake watches, and at the end of the day, the honest buyer pays more for the real deal because they have to make up the cost. You don't want to be paying for that when you buy a real watch. 15. Finally, you'll regret it. Even if you just spent 20 bucks or 50 bucks on that fake, over time, you'll notice that it's a fake. You'll feel embarrassed. You're not going to wear it. And then it's just like burning the money. Now, if you can't afford an expensive and luxurious watch, that's no problem at all. There are a lot of different options to find a watch that looks good on you and doesn't make you look like a fake. For example, if you're on a small budget, take a look at our $100 watch guide, which lists a lot of watches all under $100. If you have a little more money to spend on a watch, please take a look at our guide for $1,000 watches or less. A much more economical way to actually end up with an authentic watch that doesn't break the bank is to go vintage. Now that requires some skill, and you need to understand what is actually the real deal and what is a fake. So the best way to circumvent that is to buy from a trusted source. But at the end of the day, you end up with a nice watch that costs a fraction of the retail price, that is genuine, looks good, has some character, and make you look like a proper gentleman. To learn more about vintage watch buying, please check out our in-depth guide here. Personally, I'm not a huge wristwatch guy. However, I like pocket watches. The big advantage is pocket watches are a lot more unique than wristwatches, and you can find a used 14-karat solid gold watch for about $500. Try to find that in a wristwatch. It's basically impossible. With all these options at your fingertips, there's really no reason to buy a fake or replica watch. And if you want to learn more about watches, please check out our watch guides here.